Steinhouse, and welcome to Money Chat Now. Money Chat Now is a politically charged stock market pre-show giving you the politics of the day and the biggest moves in the stock market. It is presented with comedic common sense and just the right amount of sarcasm by an expert in financial literacy. And hey, that's me, Larry Steinhouse. Today is July 19th, and I want to welcome you to the show. We are here live on WWDB Radio 860 AM in Philadelphia, and we are live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Hey, if you'd like to connect, please go to contactlarry.com, and you can find my social media connections, and you can even find a way to talk to me. So go to contactlarry.com and look me up there. Hey, just a reminder, if you're watching online, hit that like button and hit that share button. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the Money Chat Now page on Facebook. And you can comment live during the show on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And please say hi so I know you're watching. By the way, if you're commenting from a group and it's not the Money Chat Now fan page, your name may not show up on my dashboard, so please go to the Money Chat Now page and comment there so I can recognize you. Looks like the first person to say hi is John. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Money Chat Now is brought to you, of course, by Investor Schooling, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday by going to investorschooling.com, and there you will learn about real estate investing and stock options trading and everything that has to do about money from people who practice it every day. Hey, I also want to remind you that today is Interview Tuesday. So for our online audience, each Tuesday, we bring you a great interview with interesting people and introduce you to their products, their services, or just their good intentions. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can go to thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. That's thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. Let us know why you want to be interviewed, and I'm sure we can make that happen. Today we have Daniel Lay, who was fired from his job for being a Trump fan. That's right, he was fired. You definitely want to watch this interview because it's going to make your blood boil when you hear the story. All right, stay tuned for the interview after the first part of the show. A couple of people saying hi real quick. We got Charles, and we got Jay, and we got Tom. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you watching. All right, on today's show, of course, we're going to be talking about the recap and the update. We're going to be talking about Biden's approval rating. We're going to be talking about home builder sentiment and Japan and U.S. reserves. This is going to be an interesting show today. I suggest you listen carefully. All right, so let's talk about the recap first. Yesterday was certainly ugly. It started off fantastic, and then the market reminded itself that a recession and an interest rate bump is coming. I actually felt it, and at one point I had the screen open to buy puts on the SPY, and I really wish I would have, because it would have been a great day if it would have been a great play if I would have done that. The swing was incredible. So the Dow swung about 600 points to finish down 215 points. The S&P, the put play I should have made, swung about 70 points to finish down 32, and the Nasdaq swung about 32 points to finish down 92 points. I really wanted to report good news in the market with the earnings report yesterday, but since the market fizzled, it wasn't all that great anyway. But here are some of the movers of yesterday, though. Goldman Sachs had a nice earnings report when it topped estimates. The report of earnings per share was $7.73 versus $6.58. That's pretty good. Also, the revenue was $11.86 billion versus $10.86 billion. Again, really good. So the stock popped initially and then it dropped, but it did still finish up about 2%. Don't forget that last week the competition, JP Morgan Chase and Morgan Stanley, posted steep declines for second quarter. Goldman is still down quite a bit below its high of last year of 426. It's trading about 300 a share currently. Delta and Boeing were also in the news when Delta said it was going to purchase 100 737 MAX planes. Now, if you remember the reports on the 737 MAX, I'm actually surprised that Boeing hasn't renamed the plane. Well, they kind of did, actually, because they actually called them the 737 MAX 10 instead of the 737 MAX. For those who don't know the story, the 737 MAX was grounded for about 2 years when two of the planes had computer issues that caused them to fall from the sky, killing all on board. Well, I guess they fixed it. But still, when I fly and I see the card in the seat in front of me say 737 MAX, I shudder a bit before and during my flight. It's scary, right? Boeing was also up a bit yesterday, about 6 points, but it finished down a fraction of a point. I'll tell you right now that this is going to be a really good play today if the market goes down a bit. Tesla initially rose and when Deutsche Bank added to its must-have list. By the way, if you're putting in the words Deutsche Bank and you spell it wrong, it's very interesting what the spell check comes up with. By the way, a surprise bump was Coinbase when it jumped about 10% in news of a large fund buying positions in the company. So this is kind of something that's new. I will tell you that the jump in crypto also helped it as well, and even energy stocks moved up as the price of a barrel of oil moved back over $100. I expect the route to continue today, although it may not be a bad day. So far the futures are up. We're going to get to that in a minute. I also would expect that if it does go down, though, I would buy some calls or long positions if the market drops, and I kind of expect it to, again, even though the futures are up. Most of the travel stocks also finished in the green with the news of the purchase of planes by Delta. These stocks will definitely have some legs soon. I like them. I think they're a great long-term play. Netflix will be in the earnings. Will report its earnings in the news after the bell today, and this will shape the market for all the tech stocks and tomorrow's market. They typically announce 10 to 15 minutes after 4, so watch for that. I'm going to tell you, watch the futures right after that, too. Alphabet almost reached my buy number of 105. Initially, it was up to about 113.5, and then it closed about 108. Watch this one. It will follow the pattern carved by Amazon after it split about a month ago, so it's going to look exactly the same. All right, let's take a quick look at the futures and see what's going on. We have that's not right. It needs to be reset because the futures on my screen say that we're up 194, and also we're also up in the S&P up 32, and the Nasdaq is up 123. I think we're showing yesterday's numbers and not the futures, so my apologies for that. Those things happen. All right, so real quick, let's talk about Biden's approval rating. Hey, it's time to talk about our favorite geriatric patient. That's right, Joe Biden. The president who was fairly elected into office with the most votes in history. The guy who had 7 people show up at his rallies and was able to muster up those record-breaking votes. The guy whose son, if he was anyone else's son, would be in jail for life. The guy who didn't even win the Democratic National Convention, but somehow became the nominee anyway. President Poopy Pants himself, Joe Biden. That's right, I want to talk about Joe Biden and his approval rating. So Biden's overall approval and economic approval, I should say, numbers have reached the lowest level in his presidency and fallen further than that of his 2 predecessors, according to a survey. Now check this out. Biden's economic approval dropped 5 points from the prior survey in April to just 30. The president's economic record is supported by just 6% of Republicans, 25% of independents, and 58% of Democrats. That's actually a really low number for his own party, 58%. Yes, I did also say that 6% of Republicans approve this guy's economic policies and results. Seriously, 6%? I've heard of rhinos, Republicans in name only, but these people are clearly sucks. Stupid, uneducated, crazy kooks. Seriously, how else do you explain it? Only a stupid, uneducated, crazy kook, a suck, would think that Biden is doing a good job in anything. My God, the idiot can't even ride a bicycle. By the way, here is more information gathered from the poll. Among surveyed participants, 57% disapprove of Biden's handling of the presidency completely. 51% believe the president's effort to combat inflation are making no difference, and 30% say that they're actually hurting. Just 12% say that they're helping. Helping? Are these more sucks? I know, you want me to say it again. Sucks. Stupid, uneducated, crazy kooks. How could anyone think this is good for themselves or the economy? It sucks. Here's more data that's interesting. So of the participants, 52% believe the economy will get worse over the next year, and just 22% believe it will improve. Both are survey records, and they're worse than those found during the great financial crisis of the last 2 years. So this survey made me go and look up approval ratings for presidents in the past, and this is what I found for overall approval ratings for the term of the following presidents. By the way, this is interesting. The highest approval rating on record was Bill Clinton with a 66% overall approval rating. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I got to tell you that Bill Clinton was not Hillary Clinton, and if you remember, during Bill Clinton's presidency, this country did pretty well. He was probably the last real American Democrat. After that, of course, we had traitors to the American disguised as Democrats like Obama, who also had a high approval rating of about 59%. Reagan had the second highest approval rating of 63%. The list that I researched had presidents going back to 1950. Here are the 2 bottom presidents on the list. So Truman had an approval rating of 32, and check it out. The biggest loser was, come on, let's see if you can figure it out. The biggest loser? Nope, not Carter, but Nixon. Nixon had an approval rating of just 24%. Now we can stop comparing Biden to Carter, who actually had a higher approval rating than Biden does currently. We now need to see if Biden can break the next record of having an approval rating lower than Nixon. We already know that he and his family are bigger crooks than Nixon ever was. In fact, now that I'm watching this disaster of a presidency unfold, I now believe Nixon when he said, "I am not a crook." All right, let's take a break here. I'll see you guys in a minute, and make sure you guys don't suck.
Okay, so you thought about buying and selling real estate. You've thought about investing in the stock market, but don't know where to start. Well, what if you could find a place to unlock strategies to master both real estate and the stock market, all without the headache? That place is Investor Schooling, hosted by Larry Steinhouse, an expert in real estate, financial literacy, and the ins and outs of the stock market. You can attend Investor Schooling in person or online 8 times a month. You can and will learn how to make money in real estate, and you will learn mastery of stock techniques such as options and covered calls. You will even get a chance to ask one of your burning questions to the stock options sultan, the master of picks and plays. Call 866-424-2829 for free information and receive a complimentary pass to attend classes, or register online at investorschooling.com. Don't delay. These passes are limited. So what are you waiting for? Call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. Or visit investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com.
Welcome back to Money Chat Now. I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse. And of course, if you'd like more information on investor schooling, you can go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. Hey, I want to thank you all for listening on WWDB Radio 860 AM in Philadelphia. And if you're watching online, please hit that share button so you can make your friends, or help your friends, I say, learn about how to make more money and have a little bit of fun. Hey, hit that like button. Let me know you enjoy the show. And you can leave comments on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and I will try to respond to them live. Apparently, Rob really liked that last segment. He said it was another fantastic play on words. I also want to say hello to other couple of people that are online. We got Jose and Glenn and Lou and it looks like Deb and Tom. So thanks so much. I always appreciate you guys. And if you're watching online, please say hi. And I promise to do my best to say hi back. All right, so far we've been talking about Biden's approval rating, and he's obviously approved by those who suck. We also had, coming up, we have home builder sentiment, and we have Japan and U.S. reserves. Also interesting stuff. Of course, today we have today's picks and plays, but first, did you guys hit that like button? Did you guys hit that share button yet? Don't forget to leave comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter. And if you're listening on WWDB Radio, be sure and set a preset to this station and listen every day at 7:30. Also, look up Money Chat Now on Facebook when you get home and let me know what you think of the show. By the way, have you guys ordered my book? By the way, it is available now. You'll have it in 2 days if you order it now. Go get it. I got a whole bunch of people ordering it and telling me that they're getting it, and they're telling me that they like it. So go to wherever fine books are sold, order the book, Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse. I promise you're going to learn something before you even finish the first chapter, and I'm going to ask you guys if you've ordered it, and if you've read it, please leave me a review. I really appreciate that as well. Hey, I also want to remind you again that today is Interview Tuesday. For our online audience, each Tuesday we bring you great interviews with interesting people. We introduce you to their products, their services, or just their good intentions. And of course, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can go to thelarrysteinhouseshow.com. That's thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. Let us know why you want to be interviewed. And today we have Daniel Lay, who was fired from his job for being a Trump fan. That's right, he was fired because he's a Trump fan. You definitely want to watch this interview. It's going to make your blood boil when you hear the story. All right, stay tuned for the interview after the first part of the show. Now let's get into the second half, and let's talk about home builder sentiment. Well, you knew it was coming, and here's more proof. The housing market is definitely showing signs of slowing again. The National Association of Home Builders Housing Market Index, which shows a survey designed to gauge market conditions, found builder sentiment dropped 12 points to 55. That marked the largest single drop in the survey's 37-year history, with the exception of April 2020, you know, when the reading plummeted 42 points to 30 after the start of COVID. So technically, it really is the largest because if you remember, according to your government, buying houses during a pandemic caused you to get COVID. You know, like playing at a kid's park or driving alone without a mask all caused COVID at the same time. Anyway, let's get back to the home builder sentiment being the lowest drop in 37 years. The rating is barely above 50, and any rating above 50 on the index is still considered positive. Sentiment has now fallen 24 points since March, when mortgage rates started beginning to move higher. Sentiment stood at 80 in July of last year and hitting record highs of 90 in November 2020 when the pandemic sparked a rash of home buying among people looking for more space in less urban areas. Now, concerns about inflation and recession are among the factors taking a toll on builder sentiment. Some major publicly traded home builders addressed affordability in their latest earnings releases, saying that they would work with buyers to accommodate tightening budgets. For a reference, the price of a newly built home in May, the average price I should say, was $449,000, which was up 15% from a year ago. Look, I seriously wonder if this could be maintained. It's actually pretty high. So clearly we're seeing major kinks in the armor of the housing market. It's not ugly yet, but I do have to say this economy seems to be changing very quickly, and that alone is pretty scary. It's time to hunker down and prepare for the next wave of whatever this economy brings. The average time for a home to sell from listing to closing is still about 77 days. So from listing to closing, it's about 77 days, which is pretty good for a resale of a home. Yeah, I got to tell you, I expect that number to change drastically probably sometime next year. My prediction will add to at least 30 days to that number. So that's assuming your house is priced well. All right, let's talk about Japan and U.S. reserves. Sometimes it's the less popular publications that have the most information about what's happening in the world. Someone sent me an article, and after reading it, this article surprised me with more facts that scare me into thinking the U.S. economy is in bigger trouble than we even know. All right, let me summarize this article and the information. But first of all, let me tell you what the article is entitled. It was entitled, Japan has withdrawn a sizable chunk of its foreign reserves from the U.S. and a domino effect is in the cards. So let me try to explain this. Why it happened, let me try to explain this, why it happened and the ramifications of Japan withdrawing the reserves. First of all, the Central Bank of U.S., the Federal Reserve System, has been the most trustworthy haven for investment and is safer, more flexible, and more stable monetary and financial system that many countries, including China, Japan, Switzerland, India, and Russia, all keep their money in. They keep it in U.S. dollars because of how trustworthy they felt it was. Well, now with the war, or whatever that thing is in Ukraine, the rest of the world is starting to feel that trust diminishing. With Ukraine demanding money to rebuild, and Biden giving them this money that was supposed to, by the way, come from seized assets of Russia, the U.S. central bank started to lose its credibility, and the country's losing their trust. And the reason is simple. As I mentioned before, Russia, being the fifth largest reserve holder in the U.S., has had their assets in the reserve frozen and diverted to Ukraine to rebuild. Look, if you take away the emotion, this is like a bank taking your money and giving it away to someone else without a court order. It would be illegal and probably criminal. And that's what many officials in the U.S. also believe. The Biden administration probably can't seize the assets of Russians or seize the reserves that they have in the Federal Reserve, but because they have, other countries like Japan are starting to think there's a bad idea to put money in the Federal Reserve Bank for the fear that their money may also be seized or misappropriated. Even the U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has said, I think it's very natural that given the enormous destruction in Ukraine and huge rebuilding costs that they will face, the U.S. will look to Russia to help pay at least a portion of the price that will be involved. But furthermore, she added, it's not legally permissible in the United States. So as this administration continues to erode away any credibility other countries of any credibility, the other countries are actually taking notice and running away from what used to be the strength of the U.S. dollar and the U.S. government. It looks to me like China may emerge as the leader of the free or maybe not so free world as the United States of America continues to self-destruct. Look, let's take a break here, and when we get back, we'll be discussing some plays of the day. It's getting bad. Talk to you guys in a minute. Hi, I'm Larry Steinhouse, and I've written a book called Money Hacks. The subtitle to this book is Because Everything You Think You Know About Money is Wrong, and I promise you there are things you think about money that are wrong. There are chapters in this book that I think you will find absolutely fascinating, and some of them are, what is money anyway? Can money buy happiness? I'll bet you don't know the answer to that question. The truth about credit scores, how you can actually use credit cards to rebuild your credit. I also have chapters on being your own bank, how to buy houses with an IRA, and how to invest with other people's money. There are so many other chapters. There are 22 total chapters in this book, and I promise you're going to learn how to make more money and pay less taxes when you buy this book. My name is Larry Steinhouse. The name of the book is Money Hacks. You can get this book wherever fine books are sold, and you can go to barnesandnoble.com right now and pre-order it. I hope that you will enjoy it. Welcome back to Money Chat Now. I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse. Hey, by the way, I also want to let you guys know that we need to change that commercial because you don't have to pre-order it anymore. Now you can actually get it. It's actually ready to go. I also want to remind you that this show is now open to sponsorship. I've sold hundreds of books to people who listen and watch this show every day. And look, we have raving fans. And if you'd like to advertise your product on this show, please reach out to me and let me know. Of course, you can reach out to me for this or just about anything you'd like to discuss with me at www.contactlarry.com. That's contactlarry.com. And by the way, for you guys who watch the show online, I want to remind you once again that today is Interview Tuesday. I'm interviewing a young man who was fired from his job because he was a President Trump fan. You really got to watch this. It's great. It's going to be coming up in about 6 minutes, and it'll certainly get your blood boiling. Make sure you tune in, share it, and tag your friends. All right, so far, we've been discussing the recap and the update. Right now, the Dow is up 204, the S&P is up 34, and the NASDAQ is up 134. All right, we also talked about Biden's approval rating. It's not the lowest in history. Not yet, anyway. We talked about home buyer sentiment dropping, and we talked about the fact that these countries are pulling their reserves out of here because they're afraid. All right, coming up, of course, we have today's picks and plays. But did you guys hit the like button? Did you guys hit that share button? Tell all your friends about the show. Hey, look, let them know that it's both entertaining and educational. Share it on your page or on groups that you feel may enjoy the show. Have them like the Money Chat Now fan page so they can get notified of the show every morning. And, of course, you can leave comments on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And also tag some of your friends in the comment section of these posts as well. I don't know. I haven't got somebody saying hi to me in the last 15 minutes. I'm starting to think that, nobody's watching anymore. Hey, look, if you're listening on WWDB Radio, set one of your presets to this channel and listen every day at 7:30 for all you need to know about the politics behind the stock market and for some great entertainment. All right, let's get into it. Hey, I'm surprised to see the futures up this morning. I actually really thought that the market got spooked yesterday and would give us another chance to pick up some great bargains today. I still think it might drop, but if it does, I highly recommend that you pick up those bargains. Right now, it looks like the movers of yesterday are the same movers of today. The airline stocks looks like they're up this morning along with cruise stocks. I've been saying it for a while. I really like the cruise stocks, at least at these low numbers. But you're going to have to wait to cash in on the real money from these. They're all going to double, but it may take a year or two. Airlines also moved up. And, of course, we have the tech stocks moving up into earnings next week. I like Apple at this price, but I'd like to see it closer to 140. But anything around 145 is okay by me as we go into earnings next week. Meta continues to worry me in the short term, but I do believe the stock is cheap at these numbers. Next week will be very good or very bad for those who own Meta. It's going to be a big mover, Meta. I don't know which way it's going to move, but it's going to be a big mover. After the bell tonight is Netflix reporting. It's going to set the stage for the entire tech market. Frankly, I hope the report is terrible because it will create opportunities in tech tomorrow. I also think they're going to do okay. I think Netflix will probably do okay because the expectations are lower this time around. I canceled my Netflix again because just like everybody else, the guidance may show that subscribers are canceling as people are looking to trim budgets. All right, let's take a final look at the market right now. We have the Dow. The futures are up 205. We have the S&P. He's still showing the old one. Oh no! He's got the Dow is up 202. Don't look at that screen. We have the S&P up 35, and we have the Nasdaq up 136. All right, let's talk about the crypto scene real quick. Bitcoin is hovering around 22,000. And that could be, it could be a bullish sign for a cryptocurrency. So I kind of like it. If you're into crypto, it might not be bad. It might be okay. The Ethereum is also hovering around 1,500. So it may not be a bad number. By the way, if you're looking online, again, those numbers are yesterday's numbers. Those are not today's numbers. Those are the finished numbers. Also, gold and silver are still disappointing me. I don't know. Gold is just not doing anything. Gold is sitting there at about 1720, and silver is under 19. What's going on here? This is terrible. It's just not good. Oh, by the way, a couple of people have said hi. We got Tommy saying hi and Jose saying hi. So thanks so much. I totally appreciate you guys watching as always. All right, let's get into the Treasury bonds real quick. So it looks like the Treasury bonds are not moving hardly at all. They're hovering below 3% and not moving much at all. So it might not be bad. It might be okay for the Nasdaq. So oil is also back to 102 a barrel, and the average gas price notched up to about $4.53 a gallon as well. Hey, look at that. I got somebody new saying hi. We got Mary saying hi. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate you coming online and saying hi. All right, I also want to thank, of course, all the listeners on WWDB Radio 860 AM in Philadelphia. I want to thank you for your continued support. If you're enjoying the show, please reach out and let me know. Leave me a message or leave me a comment online. And of course, if you guys are watching online, you want to stick around for my interview with Daniel Lay. I'm telling you, this interview is great. The guy lost his job because he's a Trump fan. I mean, that's just not right. I don't care what his politics are. I certainly wouldn't fire somebody who's a liberal. In fact, if I fired somebody who was a liberal, we wouldn't be doing this show right now. Hint, hint. All right. I want to also let you guys know that I am Larry Steinhouse. I am the host of Money Chat Now, and I am the CEO of Investor Schooling. And don't forget, if you want to contact me directly, you can contact me directly at contactlarry.com. Contactlarry.com. That would be great. So contactlarry.com. You can reach me, and you can even set up an appointment with me if you'd like me to even look something you've got, maybe some finances. If you have a financial question, feel free to do that. I also want to remind you that from time to time, I own some of the assets and options discussed in this show, and the opinions discussed in this show is solely mine, and no one has asked me to discuss them. All right, stick around for the interview, and have a profitable day. Welcome to today's Money Chat Now interview. In this portion of the show, I take the opportunity to interview interesting people and introduce you to their products, their services, or just their good intentions. Hey, if you'd like to be a guest on my show, you can go to thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. That's thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. Let us know why you want to be interviewed, and I'm sure we can make that happen. So let me tell you a little bit about today's guest. So my guest today is an amazing tennis player and a district champ state qualifier. He is currently a college student at Pratt Junior College, and just for this reason alone, he is different from some of the guests that we've had in the past. He also happens to be a big President Trump fan. That's probably why I'm at on our show. Because of this, he received a lot of backlash simply for being a Trump fan. He is here from Kansas and came here to teach tennis for an internship at a tennis club. He was working there for about 2 weeks as a pro instructor, and then they fired him for being a Trump fan. I know this is going to get your blood boiling up, so let me introduce you to my guest today, Daniel Lay, and find out the whole story. Hey, Daniel, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate this.
I'm so excited you're here. So it's pretty exciting, right? So you come all the way here, and what happens? You come all the way here, and then you get fired, right?
Yeah.
But before we get there, I want to talk to you a little bit about first. I want to talk a little bit about being a tennis pro, because I don't play tennis. I tried to play tennis. I stink at it. I mean, I don't even think I could serve the ball. I've tried to put that in that box so many times that I finally just gave up one day, or I started playing with somebody and he said, that's okay. Even if you don't get in the box, let's just play a little bit so we don't waste any more time. So what's it like being a tennis pro?
Well, I mean, it's a very hard sport. I started playing tennis when I was 11. So, I mean, I picked it up real fast. I mean, played a little bit in junior high, and then high school. I played in high school all freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. So picked it up real fast, and now I'm going to be a second semester freshman at Pratt Junior College. I'm actually from Texas. Haven't went to Kansas yet, so I'm excited. So.
That's pretty exciting. So wait, so you started playing tennis. Like, who introduced you to tennis?
My dad.
So is your dad a tennis pro as well?
Yeah, I wouldn't say tennis pro, but he's a good tennis coach.
Oh, is he really? That's cool.
Yeah.
So does he have a job as a tennis coach as well?
Yeah, he was a high school coach these past years, but he's not going to be coaching anymore for this next year. So he kind of gave it up for the next year at least. So
is he giving the reins to you?
Maybe in the future. So
that's pretty cool. Okay, cool. So here's another question I have for you. So tell me about how you became a Trump fan. Now that's kind of wild. How old are you right now?
I just turned 20.
You
20.
just turned 20.
Yeah,
Okay, so
last week.
So how does a 20-year-old who goes to college, I mean, right away, right, become a Trump fan?
Well, I mean, Trump. I mean, I like what he says. I mean, I voted for him 2 years ago.
Oh, come on, he has mean tweets. How could you like what he says?
He's a good guy. I mean, I trust him. I mean, I know a lot of people in Texas, they like Trump. So I mean, it's kind of where you come from, and I was just brought up in a conservative household, so it led me to Trump. So.
All right, so I gotta ask you, so, like, what was your favorite thing about Trump?
His tweets.
Wait, what? Oh, his tweets.
Yeah.
Right. So what was your favorite tweet?
There's a lot of them.
I know. It's
Can't
name
name
them.
them.
So I know when you came in, you saw I had the coffee table book. I had the Art of the Tweet coffee table book, and we were talking about that earlier. That's a really cool book. So if anybody out there has ever seen it, I ordered this book. It's called The Art of the Tweet, and it's hysterical because it has all of Trump's tweets. So what is your, like, what was maybe, you know, I don't know how politically connected you are or what you thought of it, but what was your favorite thing that Trump did as a president?
Whew, that's a tough one. I don't know. I can't.
That's fine, no problem. Good. Okay, good. All right, so I assume that, you know, Biden is now your favorite president?
Yeah, that's not right. I don't even consider him a president, but
well,
I mean,
you know, the question is whether he really got elected or not. Shh, don't say that because YouTube will throw us off the air. So, hey, you know, we all know that President Biden got 81 million votes, and they're all legit, right?
yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, but anyway, so yeah, we've been thrown off of YouTube for this already.
Well, you just brought up Biden, so I mean, the best thing that Trump did was the gas prices. Now that I think about it, gas
there
prices.
You go. Yeah,
so
got the gas prices down low, absolutely, and
Biden flipped it around. So
yeah, boy, he flipped everything around. The inflation is unbelievable. All right, so tell me about being a college student. So you go to college every day. You know, so what's that like now in this crazy world that we're like?
College. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a lot better than high school because there's more freedom. You don't have your teachers out telling you what to do and everything. So, I mean, it's a lot more freedom, and you can stay in the dorm, so party if you want to, or stay in your room. I mean, there's different opportunities what you want to do, so.
Wait a minute, so let me get this straight. You go to college to party?
No, I go to college to play tennis, so.
So when you go to college, so, you know, what we hear now is we hear a lot of the college professors are all liberal standing. Have you found that?
That's actually correct.
Yeah, so what is some of the college professors saying that really gets your blood boiling while you're in class?
Ooh, I mean, that's a tough one. I don't know if I would want to say that on air, but
oh boy,
that's
you can, because luckily we don't transmit on the air. We're on all the social media, so you can say it. But go ahead, maybe you could curb it down enough so that people can understand it.
I mean, we talk about in college. I mean, Black Lives Matter. I mean, you got
sure,
gay, lesbian. I mean, that's
right.
They talk about that in school. I mean, I don't like talking about that because that's just it's
not
not what you pay to go to school for.
Exactly, it's not what you pay to go to school. It doesn't matter what your views
Yeah.
are. I mean, I don't want to get into your views on that.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's not what you're paying for. It's the same thing with even the school kids. You know, the little kids, the kids in kindergarten. They have to be taught about, you know, somebody having two daddies. It's none of your business. You know, it's one of those weird things. So I agree with you 100%. So what do you think? You think Trump's going to run again?
I hope he does. Cause
yeah, that'd be pretty neat, right?
I'm going to vote for him again.
Yeah,
so.
I actually will probably vote for him again.
Unless
again as well.
Ted Cruz is running. I mean, I don't know. That's going to be a tough one for me because.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. What about DeSantis?
Florida? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm
man.
a Ted Cruz guy because I'm from Texas. So
I get it. You need to learn a little bit about DeSantis. DeSantis is a calmer Trump.
Okay.
So he does have a stand, but that's okay. I mean, I'm just curious just to see what you're thinking. All right. So now you're in college and you get this opportunity, right, to come to Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir.
Which is not around the corner.
Where I was born here. I was born in Reading.
Oh, you were born around. Okay.
So I moved to Texas when I was 3, and I lived in Texas all my life, and now I'm going to be going to school in Kansas. So
All right, so you're in Texas and you get this opportunity to become an intern to do what?
to coach kids
To coach kids
how to play tennis, but
right?
that
Well,
didn't.
Well, hold on. We're going to get there because I mean, we definitely have. I definitely want to hear your story, and I want to hear it in detail. But so you get this internship, and how long ago was it that you got the internship awarded?
I was there for 2 weeks.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, like, you're in high school or college, right? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you're in college, and you get a letter, or you spoke to someone who. How long ago was it that you knew you had this job?
I emailed the tennis pro, the head tennis pro there in late May, and I got the job probably early June. So I was off to Pennsylvania, got here mid-June, and I started, and I was there for 2 weeks. So
I know we're gonna get into all that in a minute, but I'm like, it's pretty amazing that so you get this like so. Did you have other friends that were also tennis pros that were applying for jobs like this?
no, most of my tennis friends, they just stayed home, work on their game, practice. So they're not. Most of my friends aren't doing tennis pros, or they're not coaching kids at summer camp. So they're just back at home practicing.
So how difficult is it for someone like you to get an internship to teach tennis? Is it difficult, or is it?
Yeah, I would say it was difficult because I mean, the head tennis pros, they want the best players, and they just don't want somebody who's just gonna just do nothing when they get there. They want the best of the best. So I was thankful that he picked me because I know he had a couple other applicants that wanted to do it. So.
All right, so let me get this straight. So you think that this guy who owns this tennis club, who fired you after 2 weeks, and we're going to get into all the reasons of that in a minute, but he fired you after 2 weeks, do you think he's having a tough time replacing you?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know much of Philly tennis, so I mean, I'm sure there's other good players out there. So, sure, I mean, he might have hired someone, or I don't know. Maybe he didn't. So
Sure.
I'm not sure. I haven't been in contact with him.
So let's do this. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to find out the exact whole story, because I'm really excited about learning the story. I heard about you on my friend Dom Giordano's show.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I was listening to the show one day because I'm on the air in on Saturdays on 1210 WPHT as well. And Dom obviously is a host there as well. And I was listening to the show, and I was listening to your story. And then we're going to talk about how you and I met in a minute. But first, let's take this commercial, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Larry Steinhouse, and I've written a book called Money Hacks. The subtitle to this book is because everything you think you know about money is wrong, and I promise you there are things you think about money that are wrong. There are chapters in this book that I think you will find absolutely fascinating, and some of them are, what is money anyway? Can money buy happiness? I'll bet you don't know the answer to that question. The truth about credit scores, how you can actually use credit cards to rebuild your credit. I also have chapters on being your own bank, how to buy houses with an IRA, and how to invest with other people's money. There are so many other chapters. There are 22 total chapters in this book, and I promise you're going to learn how to make more money and pay less taxes when you buy this book. My name is Larry Steinhouse. The name of the book is Money Hacks. You can get this book wherever fine books are sold, and you can go to barnesandnoble.com right now and pre-order it. I hope that you will enjoy it. Portion. We are currently interviewing Daniel Lay, and if you'd like to be a guest on this show, please go to thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. That's thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. Tell me why we should interview you, and we can try to make this happen. All right, let's get back to Daniel. I want to hear more about his story, and I want to hear more about how he was fired because he's a Trump fan of all things. All right, Daniel, so tell me a little bit more about what happened when you got here.
Okay.
When you first got here, so did you have to get an apartment? Did you have to get a place to live?
Right now I'm currently staying with a family friend, my dad's good friend, so I'm very thankful for that. So in Norristown. So I mean it's a little bit of a drive. So but I mean it's.
So was this your first job?
No.
Okay, so you've actually worked before. So were you a bit nervous showing up for your first day?
No, because I mean I've worked at a couple other places, so I knew what it's like to work in a workplace. So.
Excellent. So you show up for your first day, and the boss gives you your assignment, what to do. So what was your first day there like?
I was actually the first day there. I was actually working with the University of Pennsylvania tennis coaches. They were there helping out, so I was put with them, kind of shadowing over them, and they've helped me a lot. So I'm very thankful for that.
Awesome.
So I was put with good people. So
that's great.
It's not like I went in there just all by myself. No, I had to learn from a couple pros.
So look, you know that I drive around a truck that says "Let's Go Brandon."
Yeah.
Right, and everybody laughs at it. They find it hysterical. So you know you've seen it. And here's a picture of it right now, in case you haven't seen it. It's this is the truck that I drive around in. But how did they find out? I mean, it's obvious I'm a Trump fan, and it's obviously I'm not a big fan of Biden. But how does somebody find out that you're a Trump fan if you're playing tennis?
Okay. So, I mean, it started off with the kids asked me out of nowhere, like, if they said if I was vaccinated, which this has nothing to do. This has nothing to do if I was fired or not. So, the kids asked me if I was vaccinated, and I said no, and it's like they stared at a ghost. They didn't know who they were looking at.
How old were these kids?
The kids were like 12.
Okay, so the 12-year-old comes up to you and says, "Hey, are you vaccinated?"
Yeah.
Did they explain why they were asking? Were they scared, or they just were curious because the whole world is brainwashed and you happen to not be?
That might be right what you just said. So, but this has nothing to do with the reason I was fired. So it baby steps up. So
no, I got it. Okay, so now you tell them you're not vaccinated. Now, did that kid come back to class the next, or come back to?
Yeah, all the kids. This was actually a week before the Trump question. So, like I said, it has nothing to do. It was just baby steps leading up. So
do you think that anybody said to the owner of the club, "Hey, this guy's not vaccinated"? That could be a problem.
Maybe they might have told their parents, but I mean, you can't fire someone just because.
I understand, but I'm just trying to figure out what the reaction was to the people and what the reaction was to your boss. Obviously, you were set off by it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. Ask me if I'm vaccinated.
Are you vaccinated?
That's something that I only discuss with my doctor.
Okay.
All right. So now you know how to answer that question next time you're asked, because that is the best answer, by the way, and that is the truth. All right. So now you said another week goes by. Now, how did they find out that you're a Trump fan?
Okay. So the kids asked me who I supported, Biden or Trump. I ignored the first time, and they asked me again, and I said Trump, and everything was fine. I mean, they asked me why I supported Trump, and I started giving my reasons, and I thought everything was good. And a day later, I get a phone call saying I was going to be let go because of my political views. And then he called me. I mentioned this on the Dom Show. I was actually in Atlantic City. I was going to the beach, going to have some fun, and I got the phone call late night at the beach. And then he said they were going to let me go. And actually, he said the reason why I was going to be let go was me supporting Trump and me being anti-abortion, which I never said anything about being anti-abortion, so they lied to me. So
he actually had the nerve to tell you he was firing you because you're supporting Trump?
Exactly. And I was anti-abortion, which I never said I was. So.
And again, like wow. I really hope this guy has a good attorney.
Yeah. I mean, that's something we're doing right now, so maybe.
That's insane. I mean, I find it hard to believe that the guy would. I mean, look, you can fire people for a lot of reasons. Actually, I believe that this state is an at-will state anyway. All he had to do was say your services are no longer needed. He didn't have to explain the reasons why. He could just say, "Yeah, I'm really sorry your services are no longer needed. I apologize. Come pick up your last check." And that's all he had to say. If he was dumb enough to say he fired you because you were supporting Trump, that's just plain dumb.
Yeah. And I mean, that's another thing. You just said pick up my last check. I haven't even picked up my last check yet, so we're dealing with that right now.
So they haven't even paid you, huh?
No, sir. They paid me a little bit. They haven't paid.
Right.
They owe me a good amount of money. They've only paid me half that. So
I'm tempted to ask you who the club is, but it's probably best if I don't, only because of what's going on, and we don't, especially if you're going to be suing them. I don't want to have this come up, only because if you are, you may actually hurt your case. So let's not even ask you the name of the club. But that's fascinating to me. So now as you said, you were on your way down to shore to enjoy a vacation or a couple of days off, and you get fired. I guess you didn't enjoy your vacation, huh?
No, not really, because it was a late night phone call. I was just like, what's going on? I didn't believe it. I called my parents right after. They couldn't believe it either. I'm still shocked because, I mean, I came all the way from Texas. I mean, that's a heck of a drive. So
yeah. And,
just to be worked 2 weeks, get let go. I mean, it cost me like $300 to get up here, but.
I mean, doesn't he realize you came from Texas? Most people in Texas are Trump fans.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, my dad was like, what? Don't they realize where you come from, especially where I live, East Texas,
Right.
one of the most conservative spots in America? It's just ridiculous. So.
All right, so then what happened? So I hear you're on Dom Show. How did you get from being fired to getting on Dom Show?
Actually, I went over to my grandparents' house. They live outside of Pottstown, in Douglasville. So I went over there, I told them, and they didn't believe it, and they said, you know what you should do? And I said, what? and they said, you should email Dom Giordano. I was like, what? And they were just like, yeah, email him. And I was like, what is
That's
that?
funny.
And they were like, radio show.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I didn't think about that. So I emailed Mr. Dom, and then Mr. Dan got back to me with the producer there. Good people, good people. So he got back to me, and they wanted me to be on the show. So got on the show, and
Yeah, and it's funny
I'm
because I
here.
happen to be listening to. So you also, what was interesting was, now I heard that Jim Worthington was also on that show.
Yeah.
And Jim Worthington offered you a job.
and now he's my boss. So
I know it's pretty wild, but I'm curious to know, like how did Jim know? Did Jim know you? Did Dom call Jim and say you were going to be on the show? How did Jim get involved?
actually, I just had a talk with Mr. Jim like an hour ago, just before I came here. He told me how he got on the show, and he told me Mr. Dom contacted him, and Mr. Jim wanted to help me out, so he ended up being on the show, and now
Yeah.
he's my boss. So I
Right.
mean, that's pretty cool how it worked out.
So for you guys who don't know, Jim Worthington is the owner of the Newtown Athletic Club, which is the third largest health club in America. It's a huge health club. I'm actually a member of it. I really enjoy it. It's a great club. It happens to be across the street from our studios and from our company, but it's just a great club. But here's what's really weird. Jim doesn't have tennis courts.
Yeah.
So how did you get to work for Jim?
They talked with me the first day I got there. Whenever I met him in person for the first time, he talked with me, and he asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, just anything. I just want to help out kids. So he put me. I'm a counselor right now at a camp, Camp NAC.
Great.
So I'm helping out kids, just doing whatever they want to do. So just helping out kids and helping out the community. So that's what he put me to do, and I'm enjoying it right now.
So what's it like working for Jim? You can tell everybody how bad of a wuss he must be.
No, I like Mr. Jim. He's a
actually a
great
really nice
guy.
guy,
I mean,
really
I got
nice.
nothing good things to say. My family's there. They can't thank him enough for giving me this opportunity.
So Jim is one of the most politically connected people that I know. Now, I slowly have been getting very politically connected, and I find Jim to be one of the most politically connected people that I know. I'm curious to know if he's told your story to other people. Do you know this? Like maybe to people like Brian Fitzpatrick in the area, or even Steve Scalise, or even Dr. Oz, who he supported?
Yeah, he's actually doing a charity. I mean, they just told me he was doing a charity, and he's very connected with all these people. I didn't even know he's connected with Herschel Walker.
Yeah,
I was just
absolutely.
like,
Herschel Walker,
what?
right. Yeah.
I was like, wow. I
Yeah.
mean, Mr. Jim, he's a good guy. He's connected with a lot of people. So
That's pretty awesome. So what's your life like now that you were fired and hired by Jim Worthington?
I mean, I'm not going to say it was for the best, because I mean, tennis is my root.
Sure.
So I mean, I'm still very sad about it, but Mr. Jim is going to take me. He's taken me, so now I just got to focus on helping kids.
All right, so do you still play tennis while you're
I
here?
do. I find somewhere. I mean, I still live in Norristown, so I got to find courts around to practice by myself, working on my serve, working on my game, everything that I can. So it's difficult for me. I'm not going to lie, because I mean, I love playing tennis every day,
Right.
but
And you
I'm-
came here
yeah,
specifically
yeah.
to teach tennis, I understand.
so I'm limited now. I can only serve. It's not like I can hit with somebody, because I don't know anybody in this area. So
that plays tennis? You don't know anybody playing
no,
tennis?
I don't know anybody. So if anyone's listening,
Yeah.
send
Hey,
me up.
yeah, So if you want, that's fine. If you want to actually reach out, and is there someplace somebody can get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, my social media name, Showtime Lay. So
L-E-Y.
L-E-H,
I'm sorry,
L-E-H.
Right. I'm sorry?
L-E-H.
L-E-H. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't even spell it right. How you like that? Okay, so it's L-E-H. So it's Showtime L-E-H. and
Yeah,
they can
Showtime
reach
Lay.
you. That's kind of cool. Okay, so you could reach out there. I assume you have a Facebook account too?
I do.
Cool. Man, by the way, I don't think we're connected on Facebook. Make sure we do that as well. And all right, is there anything else that you want to tell anybody out there?
No, yeah, do you have any more questions? I mean, I'm all for this. So I mean, if you have any more questions out there to ask me, I mean.
All right, how is it? I got to ask you this because this is what's coming to mind right now.
Okay.
How is it that your hair is the same color as Trump's?
I don't know. Maybe that's why I dyed it. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I like this color, so I just dyed it. So.
Oh, did you dye it that
Yeah.
color? Oh, I mean, I actually thought that you were born with that because
Really?
everybody says Trump's hair is natural, and I'm kind of finding that hard to believe. So.
No, I'm actually I got to find a barber. So if anyone knows a barber, let me know. I mean, I don't know any barbers.
You should have been here
around so-
yesterday. Our barber comes here. She comes here and she cuts her hair on the other day, so you should have been here yesterday. But that's fine. Your hair looks good, by the way. You look like a typical your typical 20-year-old guy who has hair like that. That's fine. So you're finding it nice to live in this area?
Yeah, I'll be here for my last day at the NAC. It's supposed to be the 29th. Could be earlier. But
Of this month?
yes, so I mean,
And then you going back?
I'm going back to Texas
Okay.
for a couple weeks, get ready for school. Then I'm headed to Kansas. So
All right, so if anybody wants to go see Daniel, go to the NAC before the 29th, and you can see him there. So real quick, if you had Trump in the room right now, what would you say to him?
I got fired because of you. That's what I would say.
That would,
in a joking manner.
Yeah, I know, but I wonder how he would take that. That's kind of interesting.
Maybe he would probably laugh and say, "Wow."
He probably would. Don't you find it funny that his tagline was "You're fired"?
That's crazy.
And it worked for you. All right, everybody. All right, I totally appreciate you for being here, Daniel. And if you're certainly welcome to come back, and we'll talk again one day when you're back in the area after you become somebody famous. Something tells me you getting connected to the right people, you might become very famous in the future.
Hope so.
So I want to make sure everybody understands that I am the first person to interview him on video. So hey, give me some kudos for that, guys. All right, let me get back, and I thank you for being here, and we're going to say goodbye to everybody. All right, I want to thank you all. Let's just say for watching the show. My name again is Larry Steinhouse. I am the host of Money Chat Now. Money Chat Now is live every morning at 7:30 a.m. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And of course, if you'd like to be a guest on our show, you can go to thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. That's thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. Let me know why you want to be interviewed, and I'm sure we can make that happen. Hey, we hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you enjoyed today's interview with Daniel Lay, and we hope you will tune in again. And don't forget, make it a profitable day.